right, today we're going to look at Saturday's Grade 2 $1 million Louisiana Derby from the fairgrounds. Four horses from this race exit the local prep, the Grade 2 Risen Star Stakes you see here. It was run on February 17th. You have the winner, Bravazo, coming out of here running. You have the second place finisher, Snapper Sinclair. You have the third place finisher, Noble Indy. And you also have another horse, Give Me a Minute. So before we look at each horse individually, let's take a closer look at that Risen Star Stakes. You see here the Risen Star was run as race 9 on that February 17th card at Fairgrounds. They actually ran, a very, very similar version of the race, the Rachel Alexandra, 2 races earlier. Now it's the same distance, same day. The only difference is that the Rachel Alexandra obviously was for fillies. So straight 3-year-old filly Grade 2, 3-year-old male Grade 2, same distance, same day. And the one thing you'll note, the girls went faster early. They went 23:58 for the first quarter, 46:83 for a half. By comparison, the boys in the Risen Star went 47:96. It's about 7 lengths slower for a half mile. So Snapper Sinclair, the horse who set the pace here, would have actually been last in this race running the same speed. And Bravazo, he was just a head back in second. He also would have been way out of it. They just went very slow in the Risen Star. And you see the pace held very well. Snapper Sinclair, 41-1 shot. Had the lead the whole way, just got beat a nose right at the wire. Bravazo was, just basically had his flank the whole way and finally pushed past in the final stride. You got a 21-1 winner, a 41-1 second place finisher. Noble Indy was third at virtually every call. In Still Regard, the favorite in the race, was fourth, tried to come wide. They went 23 and change for the fourth quarter. Anytime you go 23 and change for the fourth quarter of a 2-turn race, you can just guarantee that the closers have absolutely no shot in the race. So, Give Me a Minute, you'll see, was one of the 4 horses that's coming back, was actually last early. But with that said, we're going to go watch the replay of the Risen Star Stakes from February. And obviously the one thing you have to be aware about is that it was a very slow pace that day. Okay, here's the replay right now. You've got the 2 horse here is going to be Noble Indy. The 3 horse is going to be Give Me a Minute. The 4 is going to be Snapper Sinclair. And the 7 is going to be Bravazo, the eventual winner. So this will be the eventual pace setter. 41-1 shot, Snapper Sinclair. This is the eventual winner, Bravazo, 21-1 shot. We're going to roll it now.
Gabriel Science with Evan on a mile and the 16th. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Risen Star Stakes. And
you see a good aggressive ride on the 4.
Sinclair and Still Regard settles, and Bravazo
comes the 4 didn't particularly break well, but
they enter the first turn where
the 4 didn't particularly break well, but the kid on him, did a good job really pushing and shoving to get him to the front. You got Bravazo right to his outside at his flank. I mean, they're going real easy. Now they're slowing it down here. You see, there's the 24. Both horses are just cruising along. The 3 horse here, Give Me a Minute, was last early. He's being disadvantaged by the pace. Now, the Pletcher horse you see here, Noble Indy, he's going to come off the rail here, and he kind of gets, he's in and among a wall of horses here. He's got the 2 pace setters, so he's got a little traffic. He got bumped a bit at the break, but really no excuses for him. It's the but Snapper Sinclair is just, enjoying it on the lead. Bravazo flanked his outside in second. There's still no pressure on them at this stage. They have it all their own way. Give Me a Minute back here will benefit from a more fast and contested pace. He needs a hot front end. Remember, they went 23 and change for the fourth quarter of this race. impossible for closers to make any impression. When they go 23 and change for the fourth quarter of a 2-turn dirt route. And they're absolutely flying home right now. Snapper Sinclair's a fresh horse. He's going to get tagged by Bravazzo, who was, at his outside the whole way. Closers had no chance. Okay, when we assess each horse individually here, we'll start with Bravazzo. He got a good 96 figure off the layoff 2 back, and you see there was 9 lengths between second and third that day in an optional claimer at Oaklawn Park. The time to mess around with a horse like Bravazzo would have been last time, where he had a good figure. He was 21-1. He was in a race that, didn't have much pace on paper. Miguel Mena was able to give him just a perfect trip in a slow-paced race. He got a 98 figure, but the big difference in this spot is that this race is absolutely loaded with speed. You saw Bravazzo was basically, forcing the 41-1 shot all the way last time. He's got speed. Noble Indy, the 2, you see blinkers on here. He won his debut race wire to wire. You should see some more speed from the 2 Noble Indy. The 3 horse, Marmello, he debuted going 5.5 furlongs on the grass, got to the lead in a 12, see this is a 12 horse field in his debut, you see over there. He got to the lead in a 5.5 furlong race, a 12 horse field. They stretched him out last time going 1 mile and 1/16. He made the pace for quite a while. It was a fast pace as evidenced by the +6 for the first call, +7 for the second call. This 50-1 morning line shot Marmello has absolutely no business in this race, in my opinion. But his presence in the race is a very good thing because he's going to force a fast pace. So you got the 1's got speed, the 2's got speed, the 3's got to go. I mean, he's got to go to the lead. The 4 is a closer who should benefit. The 5, Retirement Fund. We'll watch the Southwest Stakes a little later. But Bridgmohan was going to get caught 4 wide into the first turn, so he had to rate him and take a hold. And Retirement Fund just resented the tactics. I mean, he got beat 19 lengths, and it may have been because of the muddy sealed surface, but he looked like a horse who just did not want to relax. His 2 prior wins were both wire to wire. Retirement Fund's another horse who's got a lot of speed and should be part of the pace. You go to the Todd Pletcher trained Hinford. He's about the 4th or 5th speed horse in the race. He went to the lead last time. Snapper Sinclair had the lead last time at 41-1. He run his best race from the front end. Lone Sailor's a closer we like a little. We'll talk about later. My boy Jack's obviously a closer. And then Dark Templar went wire to wire last time. So there's 1 speed with the 10. There's 2 speeds with Snapper Sinclair. There's 3 speeds. The Retirement Fund makes 4 speeds. Marmello, the hopeless long shot, 5 speeds. Noble Indy, adding blinkers, 6 speed. And Bravazzo, Bravazzo's got 6 speeds to his outside there. He's going to have to revert to more of the tactics he used in the Oaklawn Park optional claiming race and have to come from, off of it. Can he? Well, he's not impossible. He could be improving. He's 3rd off the layoff. You get Awesome again and sees Tizzy. I mean, there are some things to like there, but you have to play against Bravazzo in this race at 7-2. Too short a price. He had a dream trip in the Risen Star, perched off a 41-1 long shot through pokey fractions. Just wore him down late. Bravazzo's a play against for us here. The 2 Noble Indy. This is a very interesting horse now. He got a very good figure, a 97 when he won his debut first time out at Gulfstream. He won it by 8 3/4 lengths like a good thing. Come back second time out, won it. He was bumped at the break, and it looked like they wanted to school him a little bit. They kept him behind horses, tried a little rating tactics. Interesting thing here with the blinkers on. We'll go take a look at his workout here and see if he wore blinkers in the March 10th work. You see, indeed, this is Noble Indy here in that March 10th workout. You see they put the blinkers on for the workout, so they wanted to experiment with the blinkers in the workout before they used them in the race. Now, that's kind of interesting, so let's see how Noble Indy performed in the workout with blinkers. Okay, we want to note that the horse on the outside here in this work is a horse named One Liner. Let's take a look at One Liner's past performances. And here are the past performances of One Liner. He's obviously a Todd Pletcher stablemate. There's the March 10th work down here. And this is a nice horse. I mean, he was undefeated in the first 3 starts of his career. He's an older male. He won the Southwest last year. You know, he beat Petrov. Looking at Lee, a horse that actually eventually run second in the Kentucky Derby last year, finished third, beating about 11 or so lengths in the Southwest. Poor Looking at Lee can't buy a win now. But anyway, One Liner's a pretty nice horse. You see, he made his comeback February 9th. He was third by 5 lengths, but the race went 108 and 4, 121 and 3. Mind Your Biscuits, a horse that was third in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year, was just 5 lengths in front of him. He was bumped at the start. So I mean, you would expect in a heads up workout, One Liner in Noble Indy, without knowing too much about their tendency to work out, you would expect One Liner to be the horse more likely to win the workout. I mean, he's probably not a bad workhorse. You see Bullet here, Bullet here, Bullet here. You know, they bet him to favoritism first time out at Saratoga in a 10-horse field. You know, he was 4-5 second time out. You know, he won at 5.5. So One Liner's a horse who you would expect to do really well heads up against a younger horse. So with all this out of the way, let's go take a look at this March 10th workout. One Liner and Noble Indy in company. And there we go. All right, you see Noble Indy on the inside. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first time the blinkers were ever on him in the morning. They definitely haven't been on him for a race yet, but Pletcher is putting them on, for the upcoming Louisiana Derby. And here you see the speedy One Liner kind of he's giving the younger horse about a length to a length and a half head start. The expectation is that he, comes up outside and they end up, a nice solid even workout here. Well, that's what it looks. That's really how it looks at this stage of the work. You see One Liner come up outside, and he looks like he's going pretty easy. It looks like Noble Indy's maybe being asked a little, but Noble Indy really starts to turn it on and look impressive in this work. Now the exercise rider on One Liner's, One Liner's just been left in the dust here. Noble Indy drawing off. So this was kind of an impressive workout in blinkers for Noble Indy. And you see they have him working, past the wire. So a good looking workout for Noble Indy, in my opinion. And I will say that my opinion on workouts is not an expert opinion. I am not a clocker or anything, but to me, I think Noble Indy worked well in blinkers. Todd Pletcher probably did too, because the blinkers are on first time. Okay, getting back to the past performances here. I mean, with that said, Noble Indy's intriguing. I mean, he may have been, just rated back in here. He was bumped a little at the break. They wanted to school him, get a little dirt in his face, get him to settle behind horses. Didn't work out too well. The blinkers are on. Expect Noble Indy. I think he's going to be part of an extremely hot pace here. Should be a hot and contested pace. But I'm optimistic that, he's such a lightly raced horse. I'm optimistic you could see him step forward and, improve the way you saw, another lightly raced horse of Todd Pletcher's do last week in Magnum Moon in the Arkansas Derby. Noble Indy's got that same potential. Lightly raced horse. form isn't as exposed. He's got a forward move in him. Anyway, moving along, Marmello. There's no sense even talking about this horse. I mean, this is just you know, he'll be a pace factor, but that's it. Just hopelessly overmatched maiden. Give Me a Minute's the horse we saw who had absolutely no shot in the Risen Star. We talked about how slow the pace was, how well the pace held in the Risen Star. Give Me a Minute was, you know, last by 8 lengths early after being bumped at the break. You know, tried to come to the 6th path at the quarter pole, and that's where they were running that 23 and change 4th quarter. You see, he's a horse that's got some numbers on the go back. He run a 97 figure here. You know, he won a race by 8 lengths under a hand ride. You know, he was only beaten the neck in the Grade 1 Hopeful as a 2-year-old. Dallas Stewart has a lot of these horses that, you know, he's been second in the Kentucky Derby a couple of times with horses who have a similar running style to Give Me a Minute, just, you know, stretch running horses. This horse is going to get a lot of pace. What's kind of interesting is Javier Castellano is named to ride. So, to be honest, we probably would have preferred, a jockey who doesn't have the high profile of Javier Castellano, because this is a horse, you know, we definitely want to use underneath in tickets. And, you know, maybe we would have got 30, 40 to 1, maybe 40 to 1 on this horse as a good exotic use underneath. But with Javier Castellano, you know, being enticed to come in to ride, you know, the horse will probably take a little more money just because, you know, Javier's, you know, such a wonderfully proven rider, and people will, you know, there are people who, you know, will kind of lean his way in the betting. So we come to the 5 retirement fund. We'll watch the Southwest Stakes, a replay of his last start. You know, this horse had 2 wire-to-wire wins, wasn't able to get the lead in the mud here, got beat 19 lengths. The horse who beat him, My Boy Jack, is the morning line favorite in the race. My Boy Jack won the Southwest by 4.5. We'll go back and watch the replay of these 2 horses, Retirement Fund and My Boy Jack in the Southwest right now. Okay, My Boy Jack's going to be breaking from the rail here. He's the 1 horse. Retirement Fund is the 7 horse, breaking from post 6. So you see Retirement Fund here is the 7. My Boy Jack is the 1. With that said, we're going to run it now. And you see Retirement Fund here. He broke well. He looks like he's going for the lead, although the Zayat horse is kind of rushing out. Now Bridgemont takes a hold, and he's fighting him a little bit. Bridgemont kind of wanted to take a hold and tuck in to save some ground, and Retirement Fund, you know, he didn't like, to me it looked like he didn't really appreciate, you know, the restraint. So Bridgemont restrained him, didn't appreciate it. He has to drop in. He's taking some mud in his face. I don't think he appreciated that either. So you see My Boy Jack, the eventual winner, back here. You know, he's the 1 horse. He's way back there saving ground. But the tactics in the mud were probably both things that the 7 Retirement Fund didn't appreciate. He stopped. He got beat 19 lengths. Check out this ride by Kent DeSormo and My Boy Jack. I mean, this is like, you know, DeSormo's going to do his best Calvin Burrell impersonation here. Now, this looks like Burrell coming up the fence in a, you know, wet track. Watch DeSormo here. This is a great ride. Absolutely great ride on My Boy Jack. As soon as the 2 gives him a little room, DeSormo's going to knife his way through up the fence. You see the late Baffert horse Moreno unfortunately broke down, but there is My Boy Jack just surging up the fence. Great ride by DeSormo. And, you know, the horse riding for his brother. The horse kicks clear in the stretch, opens up, wins by almost 5 lengths. You know, a very good showing. They've kind of got the right running style for the Kentucky Derby, does My Boy Jack. And, you know, great ride, good performance by the horse. Okay, getting back to retirement fund, we're certainly not wrong to discount him. You have to discount him in here just because, I mean, those 2 wins are wire to wire. Yes, this was mud, but yes, he resented the tactics, but there's just too much speed in the race. It's too hard to see where he could, take back, relax, and make a run past the speed. It's just the wrong running style for the race, in my opinion. Moving along, the 6, Hinford for Todd Pletcher. We've shown this race here with Magnum Moon a couple times on our channel. This was that Tampa race. Magnum Moon was like a paid workout for Magnum Moon that day. He got a total education in the race. Luis Saez, wrestled him back behind horses. It was a very slow pace. He wrestled him back behind a slow pace. Here you see -9 for the first call, -7 for the second call. He got Magnum Moon in the line and kicked back, got his face dirty. Basically just schooled him, got him to prepare, and steered him out 4 wide without being asked. Magnum Moon went by. Hinford, in my opinion, got the run of the race. He had the best trip. He got the soft front end. This was a horse that Pletcher risked for a maiden 50 claiming tag 2-back. He only got it done by a half length for a 50 claiming tag. Hinford doesn't have the right running style. To me, he's overmatched, and he's bad value at 8-1. Snapper Sinclair gets the rider change. The big rider change to Jose Ortiz on Snapper Sinclair. But we watched his last race. I mean, 41-1. He took advantage of a paceless race, had it all his own way. Now he's one of about 6 or 7 speeds in a race. So, nice, honest horse of Asmussen keeps getting overlooked. He was third by 4 in the Lecomte, and he was second by a nose at 41-1 last time. He's run okay races, gets the rider change, but this is a horse that I'm going to totally play against, won't include in my tickets. Now, Lone Sailor at Tom Amos is a horse 20-1 morning line. He's got some long shot appeal. 1 of 2 horses in this race with long shot appeal, in my opinion. Look at how slow they went last time. -13 to the first call, -10 to the second call. A race shape that was extremely favorable to front-end horses. You see here Dark Templar, who's in the race, won it that day. And how did he win it? He won it wire to wire on a loose lead. So, Lone Sailor was off a step slow. He was 3 to 4 wide in the first turn. He was against a hopeless pace. This is third off a layoff. He's a horse that was third in a Grade 1 race as a 2-year-old. There's some back class to him. He actually beat Bravazzo at Churchill by 3 1/4 lengths here. Lone Sailor's just going to get a dream pace set up in here. I mean, he's a horse that should benefit. He can relax in mid-pack, maybe 6 or 7 lengths off, and should be a fast and contested pace. He's a horse that should benefit from it. I don't like Lone Sailor to win, but I do like him as a horse for underneath in the exotic wagers. Your tries, your superfectas, maybe your exacta filling out the underneath slot. The 9 is My Boy Jack. We watched his great win in the Southwest Stakes. I really like the pedigree on this horse as far as, 2-turn dirt route goes. Creative Cause, of course, was a horse that, finished nose and nose with All Have Another in the Santa Anita Derby. And I think Creative Cause was like third in the Preakness to All Have Another and Bodemeister. Might have been third to him in the Kentucky Derby as well. I mean, good 2-turn pedigree. The dam is out of, sired by Mineshaft. Mineshaft is just great dirt route breeding. The second dam of this horse was, second in a Grade 1 at 1 1/4. She could run all day. So My Boy Jack is, he tried dirt once down here at 5 furlongs, but it wasn't the dirt that he didn't like. I'm sure it was the distance. I mean, this horse is just bred to go all day, but he run third to McKenzie, and they changed his tactics in the Southwest. He got one of those kind of Calvin Burrell rides. He drew off and won by 4.5 lengths in the Southwest. Now, we're gonna watch his two workouts here. The March 10th workout first, and the March 17th workout after that. So, the reason why we want to do that, this big performance here was over a muddy sealed track. It was kind of a breakthrough performance, winning by 4.5 at 8-1 odds. We want to see how he's looked since that race. All right, here we're ready to queue up this March 10th workout at Santa Anita. You got my boy Jack, is the Southwest Stakes winner. He's on the outside in this workout. The horse on the inside here is a horse named Rebel Vow. And by the way, a big thank you to clocker Bruno DiGiulio, who does a real nice job, as a clocker. He was able to tell me that this horse here, I asked him who it was. It was Rebel Vow. This was a horse who was fourth in a maiden 40 last time. A horse who really shouldn't be competitive with my boy Jack in any workout. But with that said, we'll watch these two horses work. You see the maiden Rebel Vow inside, my boy Jack on the outside. He's going to be perched outside of him. I want to say Rebel Vow was like fourth, beaten a length and a half in a maiden 40 last time. So you see my boy Jack going really good on the outside, cruising up. And this is going to be one of those workouts that, visually was just, to someone who doesn't, study workouts and isn't a clocker or anything. This was just visually tremendous. Although the horse on the inside is obviously overmatched, we were able to learn from talking to Bruno. But watch my boy Jack out here. I mean, this is just, he's just being asked right here, and he's striding away beautifully. I mean, this is a pretty thing to see. Look at him get away. So, very sharp-looking workout on March 10th for my boy Jack. I mean, he made this maiden 40 horse look weak. Okay, moving along. This is the March 17th work. This would be my boy Jack's final work for the race. Here you see him starting inside. The horse who is starting outside of him is a horse named Sonatier, who is an older horse, was actually only beaten 2 lengths in the Arkansas Derby last year. Sonatier won a $125,000 stake at Oaklawn Park early in the year. And Bruno DiGiulio was kind enough to tell us that Sonatier is a good workhorse in his opinion. A horse that usually works very well. Interesting to note about this workout as we run it here. My boy Jack's positioned on the inside of him about a length back. Usually the horse on the inside they have in front. So, kind of a cleverness there by the DeSormo brothers. I mean, this is, an interesting trial. You've got the older male, Sonatier, a good workhorse starting on the outside. My boy Jack, making an early move to come in front of him. He looks like, my boy Jack looks like he's going to get the best of this work, but you're going to see Sonatier just, range up nicely on the outside. This is going to be a good little competitive work here. And I did ask Bruno what he thought about this work, and he thought this was a very good work for my boy Jack. He says this is a better work than people think. Even though it looks like here Sonatier looks like he's going a little easier and going a little better, but Bruno was pretty satisfied with this work. He thought this was a good work to my boy Jack. He says it's better work than people think. So my boy Jack. Yes, he won the Southwest in the mud, but he seems to be handling, a dry dirt track just fine. Okay, back to the past performances here for my boy Jack. This horse is going to get a great pace setup, obviously third off the layoff. I mean, this race, everything just suits him so well. You see a 25% trainer, third off the layoff. Highest last race speed figure. There shouldn't be any excuses. Kent DeSormo should be loaded late. He should have a lot of horse. My boy Jack's an obvious contender. Moving along to the final horse in the race, Dark Templar. Capit colt that brought $475,000 as a yearling. We're very quick to dismiss this horse. You know, he basically stole that race last time on the front end. Two back, he got beat to retirement fund. You know, a horse that we're kind of dismissing here. So, you know, he's breaking from extreme outside post position 10 with about 7 speeds to his inside. There's no reason to think he could, you know, change his running style up and come from off the pace. So that's a look at the 10 horses individually. Finally, I'll give you my betting opinion on the race. I think Noble Indy and My Boy Jack, you got the 2 here, Noble Indy, and the 9, My Boy Jack, are the 2 major contenders to win the race. I think the winner will be one of those 2. But the race is interesting from a betting standpoint because I think you've got some value underneath. From the 4, Give Me a Minute, 20-1 morning line. I think he's got a shot to get a big shot to get a piece underneath, as does the 8, Lone Sailor, also 20-1 morning line. So we look for maybe a 2-horse race on the win end between My Boy Jack and Noble Indy, but we've got a couple of long shots who are kind of sneaky for the exotics, and we can make some money in this race. But anyway, that's my handicapping assessment of Saturday's Grade 2 $1 million Louisiana Derby from the fairgrounds.